Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhamad Hakim B1 Abdullah and I'm from RSR 2433B, and today I'm going to present to you about public speaking. Okay, first is what is public speaking? Public speaking is to giving speech to a group of people in an organized way in order to give information or influence or even to persuade the listener. There are 5 important questions in public speaking, which is who is saying what, to whom, using which medium, with what effects. Okay, do's and don'ts of public speaking. For the do's, the first one is practice a bunch. As we know, practice makes perfect. The second one, breathe slowly. This can help you to calm yourself down. And the third one, speak slowly. Okay, for this one, if you speak slowly, your audience can hear you clearly and understand you very well. And the fourth one is always have a notepad. This because you cannot remember all of your points in one go, so it is a safe bet to have a note card. For the don'ts, the first one is don't panic. When you panic, you tend to forget what you want to say. The second one is don't use like an arm. For example, this make you feel more hesitate and doesn't know what you want to speak. The third one, don't beat yourself up. You need to calm and believe in yourself. The fourth one is do not be overconfident. When you overconfident, you are tend to make more mistakes. Okay, the next one is type of public speaking. The first one is ceremonial speaking, such as in wedding, graduation, and funeral. This ceremonial speaking tend to use more often as marked as special occasion. The second one is demonstrative speaking, in such as demonstrative in science or role playing. This type of speaking requires being able to speak clearly and concisely, to describe action and to perform those actions while speaking. Okay, the third one is informative speaking. For example, this type of speaking always used in college lecture, in classroom, interaction between teachers and students, because this type of speaking focus more on the important thing, which is the information. The last one is persuasive speaking. People like politicians and lawyers tend to use this type of speaking more often than any other people, because this type of speaking require practicing voice inflection and nuances of language that will convince the audience. The purpose of attention getters. The purpose of attention getters is to grab audience attention. Usually, the attention getters is the first sentence in the speech. Okay, attention getters give the audience some context for the speech. Is act like the summary of or the preview of the speech. And the attention getters present as an opportunity to let your audience know why your speech is important. Type of attention getters. The first one is personal reference, then starting statistic, rhetorical question, illustration, human curiosity, quotation, guided imagery, hypothetical example, reference to occasion, reference to a recent news, and reference to a historical event. And that's all for me. Thank you for your time.
Assalamualaikum to Dr. Hafizah. I'm Nasrawi Aisy Roselan from RSR 2433B. Now I will present about public speaking. Okay, for the first one is attention getter, means to give audience a reason to listen to the rest of speech and helps the audience understand and reflect on your topic. And next is 4 things to consider. First one is relevance to audience. Make sure your option that you choose is relevant and appropriate to your specific audience. And different audience have different background and knowledge. Second is purpose of speech, divide into 3: to inform, to persuade, and to entertain. For example, to inform, you must use a strict voice tone, and to entertain, you must put some jokes elements in your speech. And third one is topic, should have relevant connection to your speech, means based on your example must based on your topic. And the last one is occasion. Different occasion must have different tones, particular style, or manner of speaking. For example, persuasive speech about death or dying, speech should not happy. And next is creating credibility. For the first one is appearance. Your first impression is important to get the audience trust. Your first experience must good. And next is look at the audience, more to eye contact, speak loudly, clear and confident to build your confidence and to get the audience trust. State your credential more to your expertise, your working experience and your education like degrees, diploma or PhD. And next is left in audience world, means you share a same thing, you and the speaker and listener have a one similarity and you share it about something, maybe like jogging. And then preview, let the audience know how you will develop the speech. It's like a roadmap for the speech from the start until the conclusion. And then let the audience know what will come first, what will come next, until the end of your speech. Next one is what is informative speech. Informative speech intend to educate your audience on particular topic. Okay, different type of information speech is speech that describe the condition of subject and speech that instruct the audience how to perform some action. And next is main goal of informative speech, to provide understanding regarding a specific topic to audience who know nothing. And next, the example is demonstrate how to use a new type of software, provide details to the audience who want to learn more about something and their interest. Informative speech should help the audience to understand a subject better and to remember what they learn. Fourth type of informative speech, we have a descriptive, demonstrative, explanatory, and definition speech. Okay, for the first one is descriptive speech. To help listener create a picture in their mind, the speaker must have clear understanding of what they want to audience know. Okay, demonstrative speech, the speaker will demonstrate how something is done. Important, you as a speaker, don't leave any steps during your explanation. You must stop at each step and explain the details. Explanatory speech helps to explain something to the listener, help people to create mental picture in their mind. We explain how or why something can be happen, designed to help clear any confusion of listener. Okay, definition speech. Explain a theory or concept. Speaker try and feed the audience in concept or theory they not be familiar before. Many questions are answered for listener during this session. Must carefully relate the content that related to your topic. Okay, last one is what is the purpose of presenting informative speech using data and charts? So for the first point is can make article or journal easy to understand, analyze data quickly, and to attract and sustain the interest of audience. And last one is efficiently during present large amount of complex information like the numbers. Okay, that's it for me. Thank you.
Hi, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Muhamad Khirulanuar. I'm from RSR 243B. Okay, without further ado, I will tell you about how to write an informative speech. For the first point, choose a precise topic. To choose a precise topic is to inform the audience the specific topic so they get the idea about the topic. For example, the topic you choose is sport, so you can tell the specific sport like football or volleyball. The second point is draft and effective thesis statement, which is you must summarize the thesis statement of your speech in one sentence. The next point is to consider your crowd. So when choosing the topic, you must consider your crowd. For example, you choose handball as a topic, but the crowd is football players, so the information will not useful for them. The fourth point is to start your outline, where you can make your crowd vision clear by giving them interesting facts, statistics, and narrative while sharing about the topic. So they have four types of speech, which is descriptive, demonstrative, explanation, and definition. Descriptive is to help the crowd have an image about the place, people, or thing. The demonstrative is to show the crowd with specific action, for example, how to kick the ball. Explanation for the explanation is to explain the topic, for example, explain to the crowd how to kick the ball. And then the definition is to this type of speech will require in-depth topic, for example, define kicking. And next one, the last point is end with a call to action, which is to encourage the crowd to do a research about your topic. If your topic interesting enough, the crowd will do the research by themselves. For the next slide is the organization pattern of information. They have four type pattern of information speech, which is chronological order, spatial order, causal order, and topical order. For the chronological order has the main point oriented toward time. For example, the speech about concert, the main point focus on the event planning, second point focus on the preparing stage, the third point focus on performing event. For the spatial order, the main point oriented toward space or direction pattern. For example, the first point discuss about the Tokyo concert, second point discuss about Munich concert, and the third point is the third main point discuss the Amsterdam concert. For the causal order is the main point toward cause and effect. You will discuss the main point in order to alert the audience to a problem and tell the audience what action resulted from the original circumstance. The last one is topical order, which is the main point randomly by the subtopic. For example, the first main point discuss about organizer, the second point is main point discuss about sponsor, the third main point discuss about performer. And next we go to the next slide, which is common vocabulary used in writing and information speech. They have three types of vocabulary used in writing and information speech, which is vocabulary variety and emphasis, clear articulation and enunciation, and good pronunciation. For the vocal variety and emphasis is to vary your tone, rate, volume, and pitch to emphasize key point and to make your speech more interesting. For the clear articulation and enunciation is to be careful not to slur your word. When you speak clearly, your audience will find listening to your message easy and enjoyable. For the last one is good pronunciation. Your pronunciation can either help or hurt your clarity. credibility. If you mispronounce keyword in your speech, your listener will begin to question whether you have an in-depth knowledge of your subject. And then we go to next slide, which is language used to describe chart and graph in informative speech. So to introduce chart or graph, you can use this example. For example, this graph show this table list, this pie chart represent. For the upward movement, you can say rise, step up, expand, jump, reach a peak. For the downward movement, you can use a decrease, reduce, decline, fall, and go down. For the no movement, you can say stabilize, stay constant, and remain stable. For the transitional word, you have three, which is transition between section, transition between paragraph, and transition within the paragraph. For the transition between section, particularly in longer word, it may be necessary include transitional paragraph that summarize for the reader the information just covered and specifically for the relevance of this information to the discussion in the following section. For the transition between paragraph, you summarize the previous you will summarize the previous paragraph and suggesting something of the content of paragraph that follow. A transition between paragraph can be a word or two. And the last one is transition within paragraph. As we transition between section and paragraph, the transition within paragraph act as cues by helping readers to anticipate what is coming before they read it. Within paragraph, transition tend to be a single word or short phrase. The next slide is a function of informative speech. For the function of informative speech, the function of informative speech is to share the idea with the audience and increase their knowledge and change their perspective and increase their skill. Thank you. That's all for me.